not here. Okay, there's nothing here. The log date, 3691 24069. There has been a fatal flaw in my plans. I hope it doesn't find me. Wait. Something outside my window. Hold on. Hello everyone, and it's raining outside, so I want to talk about something I think a lot of people know about, but the trend's already dead, but I don't care. So, we have the Immortal Snail. Okay, wait, this is actually very difficult. We have the Immortal Snail. I think we already know the premise, but for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna just show you anyway. So, it's basically like a would you press a button thing. You get immortality, and you get $1 million to boot, which is nice. However, there will be a snail that is also immortal that will follow you for the rest of your days. And if it touches you, you die. It's also very intelligent, like I guess human levels of intelligence, which means yes, it's slow, but it could look for a million ways to find a way to touch you. Yeah. Now with my trusty whiteboard, I have come up with a plan. It's not exactly foolproof, but I think it's still better than what most people have. So let's begin. I thought I heard some slithering sounds. Okay, now we start with step 1, which is the initial containment. So we're going to assume that once you start pressing that button, boom, you're immortal $1 million, and that snail will probably be right beside you. Now what most people want to do is get as far away as they can from the snail, which is pretty fair. That's what most people would want to do. Maybe you'd put it, okay, let's say you put it in a box and put it somewhere safe and then go halfway across the world. But I think this out of sight, out of mind tactic, it's not effective, because for starters, you will lose whereabouts on the snail. Assuming you don't instantly have a tracker on it, then you honestly, actually wait, we're gonna go with a tracker thing later, but basically you will have no idea where the snail is. You may live out, let's say, 50 years of your life in peace, but you wouldn't realize that one night while you're asleep, boom, suddenly something crawls up your back and it's too late, you're dead. So I think putting space between you and it isn't the best. Okay, and the next thing people would do, which I think is a bit more effective but a little iffy, is dumping the snail into a concrete box and putting it under the sea, which I get. It's mostly based on what do you call that? Yeah, basically we put it in something almost indestructible and put it where it probably can't escape, which I understand, but even if you put it in, say, a volcano, like the volcano erupts, the snail would escape, and then boom, it breaks free of its stony lava prison. If we put it under the sea, it could last about 50 years, maybe 20 at worst, 100 at best. It would escape eventually. Again, you'd need a tracker on it to figure out where it's at, and we're not gonna send a boat once every year just to check on the snail. That's too tiring. I think it's effective. It has a good start, but we're gonna work on this. Now here's what we do. We need a friend. I hope you have a friend, maybe a family member, and hopefully a spouse, because most likely we're gonna have to get them in on it. Now you can't touch the snail, but everybody else can, which is a good thing, maybe. So we get a friend, and they will contain the snail for you. We'll preferably put it in something stable. Let's say a glass bottle. That's a start. And then, okay, why make it glass? Why transparent? Because that way we'll be able to see the snail, we'll know what it's up to, and we'll have to keep track of it. And yes, a glass bottle, at first it's not good, but with time we will add more layers of containment to it. Maybe bulletproof glass, foolproof glass, and then just put it somewhere in like a freaking vault where it can't escape. Yeah, I mean, it would last about 50 years at best as well, but in this way you'll be able to keep tabs on it. You could even hold the box it's in without it worrying to escape. That's why we make it foolproof. We make it disaster proof. So in the event of, say, like, for some reason guns are being fired into your house or an earthquake, the cage will remain stable. and it will be disappointed. It will probably try to escape. Maybe it would use its slant to melt the glass or something, but I don't know. It would figure out what to do in the next 100 years. So I'll give it about 50 years of your life, safe in one secluded part of your house, just being kept tabs on by a friend. Yeah, maybe you could get somebody like a bodyguard to help you watch over it. I mean, you have $1 million, you could get them to pay. And about that $1 million. Okay, we reach stage 2 of our plan. With the snail contained, we need to do the best part, which is to live life as it is. Now we got a whole thing going on here. Let's start here. Now we got $1 million, which means it should be more than enough to get a stable life. You should get yourself a family. You might not want to at first, especially with your immortality. You'll outlive everyone, but we'll get to that later. We need a family. First, we gotta give them the legacy of the snail, to let them watch over it, even when they're not there. Their descendants will. You could probably pop in once in a while and check out how the snail's doing. They could repair the cages for you. Yeah, it's gonna be real nice. The only downside is if one of them willingly releases the snail to assassinate you, which very unlikely if you raise them right. That's why you gotta be a good parent. Next, assuming, let's say with or without that family, you could hire a bodyguard, or you could hire another friend to watch that snail for you. Imagine us pet sitting, but instead of a dog, yep, this snail that's gonna kill you is gonna be your pet now. They're gonna watch over it, tell them not to feed it, just let it be. Probably install security cameras. You got money. Now you could also go for a bit of a media influence. I mean, with your newfound power and money, you could probably go do things you like, hobbies. You could do arts. You could do I don't know, accountants. You do your taxes. Who likes taxes? But we will, because we will also start a company. That $1 million will not last forever. So you gotta start investing. You gotta start giving some high-paying jobs. You gotta invest. Maybe not invest. Basically, you gotta work somewhere. Maybe you gotta create a company. You gotta go make a bank or a restaurant. Something that could give you more passive income as time goes on. And assuming you get this out of the way, a few years of your life shouldn't be much anyway. And you still have the snail in check. You could do things that you really want to do with that immortality of yours. Maybe you could go under the sea and help clean the oceans without people knowing. Maybe you could go replant trees in the middle of a forest fire. It's up to you. Maybe you could just build a garden in the back of your house. That's okay. You could water it every 100 years. And then finally, once, let's say, give about 30 years of this whole routine, maybe 50 years, people realize you're young, and you're still young at heart, hopefully. You gotta go travel. Now, why do we travel? Yes, partially for vacations, to enjoy our lives while the snail's at home, worrying about you, and also for the next part of our plan. Alright, we reach phase 3 of our plan. Let's say everything goes well, and we gotta go to step 3 now, retreat from society, because after 100 years, people are gonna get suspicious of you, not aging at all, which is gonna be a bit of a problem. So, step 1, fake your death. 100 years should be more than enough for you to make your little escape plan. Your public death, of course. Yeah. Alright, assuming everybody knows you're dead, maybe except for 1 or 2 people, you're gonna have to get at least 1 or 2 people to help you maintain the snail. If not, you could always just go by yourself. Bring that snail in a box with you. Now we're gonna go using that private plane you bought, hopefully, or at least find yourself a mode of transportation and get away from your country. If your country finds out you're still alive, they're gonna get suspicious. They're probably gonna call the SCP Foundation on you, which is not good. So find yourself a new place to live in. Maybe Hawaii, maybe Japan, a place that doesn't know who you are, or at least a place that's secluded enough that nobody would even remember you exist. Okay, assuming we now have a new place to live with our pet snail, we will have to integrate ourselves into society. Now, it's gonna be a bit more difficult, but I was thinking maybe you could do things with your spare time. After all, you got all of eternity left. So maybe you write a book about your little adventures. Also help you keep your memories of the past. Write a book, or at least make yourself like a tablet of memories. That should be useful. And once you have that, hopefully you could publish it and get yourself some more income as you put yourself in with the new citizens. Why not? I mean, it's 100 years in the future. People probably still won't know you unless you made your thing too big and started thing too big. I mean, if your company is too big and everybody all around the world recognizes you, then that's gonna be a bit of trouble. But otherwise, you should do just fine fitting in. Hopefully. Now you're gonna have to start again. Now let's say 100 years later, things happen. I don't know. Maybe you get yourself a family again. Maybe you've made a few friends. Maybe you just found somebody to help you continue your legacy of the snail. Okay. Now we got ourselves a new bunch of people to help you maintain watching that snail from escaping. And also, if it's gonna be 200 years or 100 so, technology is gonna have advanced, hopefully not regress. Actually, maybe we should. Whatever. The point is, we should not let our snail escape, because if it gets its hands on that new technology, that's gonna be bad for us, because it could be faster, smarter, it could be immune to those things. The key is to keep it in the finest tech of transparent things. What? Basically, we just need to keep our eyes on this at all times, instead of letting it escape. Alright, now let's say that plan doesn't work. Let's say you're unable to integrate yourself into society and repeat the process of maintaining the snail. Well, we'll just have to start a new life in the wilderness, somewhere nobody can bother you. You're immortal, but assuming, okay, maybe you will probably feel hunger pangs and stuff, but with you and the snail away from everybody else, nobody really has to know you to exist. And well, assuming your snail still has its containment, then you'll be fine. You'll just have to find new ways to keep it inside its cage, which maybe that means you'll have to try something new or try something old. Well, it's time to return home. Now, we still have our little safe thing, assuming our house hasn't been demolished and we have descendants living in it. That's gonna be our best case scenario. Worst case scenario, house is demolished, nobody's living there anymore. Actually, if nobody's living there anymore, then it's gonna be okay, because, well, we could just squat in there and take it back for ourselves. But if somebody else is living in there, I guess we'll just have to, bring ourselves to them. We'll probably have to marry them and take our house back or something. I don't know. Basically, we have to recontain the snail back where we always knew where to put it. Basically, this little safe. And with technology progressing even further, assuming the world hasn't ended, hopefully, then we just have to repeat the whole thing over and over again. But this time, we cannot put ourselves back into society, otherwise everybody would know who we are. So we'll probably have to, be a stay-at-home kind of person, just keeping our eyes on the snail, just playing games. I don't know. I guess we'll have to be a house band. Maybe we'll write a book. We could write a book to sell that and, earn more money. But the money goes to our spouses. That would be nice. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself here. Or are we? Alright, here comes the last part of this story. And it's probably gonna be sad. I want to die. Now, it's just the two of you now. You've probably repeated this process for a few hundred years, maybe 1,000 years, of hopefully just existing. But you may realize that, 1, humanity is very flawed, it's beyond redemption. 2, this whole thing of containing procedures, even just running and hiding from it in a regular game, it's gonna get tiring after several thousand generations. It's not gonna be fun anymore. I mean, it's gonna be spicy for like the first few steps of the plan, but now you're old. You may be young forever, you may look like me, but you're just old now. You're an old soul, and you realize that life is only precious because of death. We may be immortal, we may be rich, but in the end, we're still just specks of dust in the universe. And this is why we keep the snail with us all this time. Not because we like taking risks, but because whenever we feel like we're ready, we could just let the snail out. All it has to do is just walk a few feet, and that's it. Our story ends there. There's no need to exaggerate it, because I know I want to die too. I mean, I will choose immortality and money anytime I want, but I think I would regret it if there wasn't a way for me to end my life. Because, let's face it, I don't know, let's face it, we humans were not meant to live forever. Animals are not meant to live forever. The dinosaurs were not meant to live forever. I mean, they existed for millions of years, and God really just said, nope, time to go, dead. And honestly, I think that's bound to happen to us eventually. Our descendants of future species are gonna go out and mingle in the stars. They're probably gonna do an all tomorrows kind of thing, but that's not the point. That's not for us to worry about. We just have to exist here, 21st century, and hopefully not die by snail. Looking at you, French people. And as always, thanks for